Hey everyone, welcome to Film Snobbery Live. I am your host, the film snob, Nick Baisley, and I am joined tonight, as I am every night, by my co-host, Jerry Cavallero. Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Nick.
Jerry, we have a fantastic show tonight.
I know we do.
I know. I'm excited. You're excited. It's big deal stuff. Now, I'm gonna.
Everyone's excited.
Everyone's excited. All the people in the chat room. I'm very. Gary King, who's in the chat room, says doing taxes and listening in. So apparently, we make good background noise for tax preparation. Gary, don't forget that big deduction for consulting with me. So when you get that check in, you can always pay me back on that deferral. Wink, wink. No, we do have a fantastic show for you tonight. Coming up, we have our guest, Nathan Cole, who's a screenwriter producer of the movie The Waterhole. We're going to talk about, kind of making mistakes in indie film, learning from those mistakes, and we're going to talk a little bit about just, what he's up to in general. After that, we've got a phone call, apparently, because I forgot to mute my phone. After that, we're going to cut to a commercial. When we come back from that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk. We have some questions from a few Q&A sessions we did on Twitter recently. Some people were having some questions regarding marketing on social media, so we wanted to kind of address that in a more larger than 140 character format. So here we are, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show, so stick around for that. So without any further ado, I want to bring to you guys the man that I think of whenever I see a Nathan Hot Dog commercial, Nathan Cole.
Really? That's how this is going to start. That's how it should finish.
That's how it should finish? How are you,
We
sir?
start at the bottom.
Absolutely.
And work our way up.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, like I said, I have to mention Paul Osborne's balls like several times during this interview. I don't know if anybody's aware of that pact I made with him, but might as well get that sort of flavor going right away.
You mean official rejections, Paul Osborne?
The one and only, and soon to be director of Favor. Well, he is the director, but nobody knows it yet.
Yes, Favor, and successfully crowdfunded movie Favor.
Exactly.
We'll probably talk about a little bit about that as well. I want to, first of all, how have you been?
How have I been? I've been all right.
What have you been up to, recently? For those who don't know what the Waterhole is or who you are or what you do, why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself and kind of what you've been up to?
Oh my God, that's my least favorite part of this job.
Well, that's why we're getting it out earlier.
4 years, over 10 years ago, I wrote the script, The Waterhole. I moved to LA in 2000 and spent like 8 years trying to get it made. Then spent the next 4 years trying to get people to see it. And we were released on DVD a little under a year ago. Just came out on some instant sites and VOD sites a few months ago. And just I've been whoring it out as much as I can. Our lead actor, Patrick J. Adams, is starting to become a big name and getting us some fan base because of that. And just trying to make money at this job of indie filmmaking, which is almost impossible.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. You want to go through all that again? No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to stop right there.
And cut. Perfect. Moving on to the next. No, so you're out in Los Angeles, someplace that we're going to be in the very near future.
Yes, and I want to hear more about that.
Yeah, me too.
I might start interviewing you at any point during this conversation.
That's fine, because I'll be honest with you, I still have no idea what the hell I'm doing out there. In as much as all of my plans have not been solidified yet. I'm still waiting to hear back on a couple of different things. But I do know that I'm driving out there. We've got a few stops along the way that we're going to go visit some indie film friends of ours and some other friends of mine that aren't related to indie film in the least. And then that's it. I'm gonna be a California resident from there on in. So you have the pleasure of being on one of the last. I think we only have like 4 or 5 more shows total. So you're in the one of the last Massachusetts studio shows.
But will there be LA studio shows?
Well, that's something that's part of the deal that we're working on right now. Supposedly, there is a 95% chance that we will have a brand new studio to use that is professional and awesome and groovy and all. But we'll have a lot more information about all that kind of stuff that we're going to release after March 1st when we launch our Indiegogo campaign. So. See how
I'm very excited for you, and I can already predict that no matter what happens here in Los Angeles, it's going to result in magic.
Well, that's because isn't the magic, one of the Magic Kingdoms there, Disneyland?
It is, and if you can tolerate people, it's quite magical.
See, I'm not a people person. I hate everyone. No, I'm kidding. No, we've got a lot of. Go ahead.
I have to make one recommendation, though, and maybe this is a good perk on your Indiegogo campaign.
Sure.
That when the show relaunches in Los Angeles, the capital of entertainment and film and TV, that you bring back screening the trailers before, and you put my poster up.
Oh, is that what you're gonna be? That's how is that a perk? Oh, the trailer part, right?
No. Somebody could sponsor that feature.
So what you're saying is kind of like as we're designing the new set and all that, because right now we're on a green screen set because of just necessity for the most part. So once we have a brand new set to work with, that part of the set design should incorporate more movie posters and stuff, as well as you're saying that as we're running, before the show like we used to do when we use live stream, we should run the trailers on a 24/7 loop.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just feeling a bit nostalgic before we actually get on to something besides you and I chatting about the history of your show. And I can't believe Jerry hasn't put a stop to this yet. Like, what kind of co-host is this? He's letting us ramble on.
He's a very quiet co-host, just the way I like him.
I don't have any control over this show. I'm not even supposed to speak. I'm not supposed to be speaking right now. Sorry, Nick.
Jerry says in the chat room, for those of you guys who aren't in the chat room for some reason, says, as I've said before, I predict Nick will be in costume outside Men's Chinese Theater in 2 months. He's probably right. As it is, I'm expecting to have to live in my car for the first month I'm there. I really do. I have no arrangements set up yet for place to live, couch or wherever. So I'll be in my little tiny Toyota Yaris that I will be driving out there with. So,
tiny car.
Tiny car.
Tiny car.
You're always welcome at my house, but not between the hours of midnight and 5 in the morning. But any other time, you're welcome here.
Any other time. Thanks. All that I just have to find a place to sleep from 12 to 5. But let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit more about the water hole. Now, we had mentioned, and one of the things that you wanted to talk about was mistakes that that can be made in making and or producing and or promoting a movie. And this is something we've gone over a little bit with Jerry in terms of mostly like promoting specifically crowdfunding and stuff like that. But we haven't really addressed anything outside of movies like stuff like Chuck 2 or those movies that it's just they fail so miserably. So let's talk a little bit about your movie here and some of the mistakes. What's the biggest mistake, first of all, you think you made?
Yeah, and I love to beat up on myself, so I could probably list a ton. I think the first was, and I've written about this before, is that we really did, my partner Daniel and I approached this so naively in terms of all we need to do is make a movie and then put it out there in the world and people embrace it, right? So, and part of that was sort of a great experience because we did not care what anyone thought. We would just wanted to make it as best as we could the way we wanted to, and that's fine, and I don't regret that decision. But to sort of naively, think that, we're going to submit it to a bunch of film festivals, and if it's good enough, we're going to get in, and that's that. Then the rest takes care of itself. Where do we start cashing the checks?
Do you feel that?
Really,
Do you feel that just kind of something you said regarding the submitting it to film festivals, and if it's good enough, moving on. But do you feel that the film festivals are representative of like that movies that get in are good, or is it that the movies that got in just happen to fit a festival kind of their profile, or is it subjective? Is it nepotism? Is it whatever? What is your kind of feeling on?
It's obviously all of those things. I mean, as much, and I can take a very cynical approach to this, and actually, since I don't want to mention the person you talked about at the opening of the show, but his film got rejected to some big festivals, and I think talking with some other filmmakers about this in the last week, that it's like a travesty. It's a total travesty. His film's so good and so original, and it should definitely be in. I don't know if I want to mention it yet, so I won't. But if you feel like guessing. But anyway, so the point of that, what I'm getting to is that, a lot of great films don't get in. A lot of great films do. I just watched Take Shelter last night, which debuted at Sundance, and I loved it, and I think it was a great independent film. But I think on the balance, the system's definitely not in your favor if you don't have the right connections, and you're not sort of positioned in the whole grooming process of, either having the right sales agents or part of like the mentorship programs, or filmmakers that are in good graces or have actors that they just love. I mean, there's all these factors that will work against you if you don't have them, in your film.
And no, I did realize that I had cut you off before. You were going to make a point, but as an aside for the film festival kind of thing. But what were you going to say as far as we were talking about some of those mistakes and stuff like that, as far as where you felt you had these expectations that the big cha-ching was coming, and apparently that didn't happen?
Yeah, no, and I mean, look, a lot of that is just being completely naive and being completely optimistic. It's because making a film is such a challenge, and getting a film made is such a challenge, and to do it is such an incredible accomplishment. And anyone who does it, and you talk to anyone, they'll say like, well, I made a movie, what now? And they'll be like, first of all, be proud of yourself. And that's happened a million times from a lot of different people in the different levels of the industry to me. But, at the same time, so many films get made that to kind of expect that just because yours is watchable will get in these festivals is just, it's like believing in Santa Claus when you're 20 years old type of thing. So, and not having a plan going in, going into that situation was just incredibly stupid for us.
And now, so did you not really have like a fully formed, like, I mean, I'm guessing you had a festival plan, which was, let's submit to a bunch of fests, regardless of...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, well, what's the budget going to be? And then you start spending money, and you're like, why am I spending all this? Like, how did this get up there so quickly? Like, why am I, paying to submit to some festival? And, I mean, basically, I was like, the price is right for me. Like, what looks good that I could possibly bid on, and
actual retail prices.
Exactly. It's like, well, a trip. I've never been to Kansas City. Let's apply there. That sounds fun. And we're just throwing money away. And it was a hard learning experience, but a valuable one.
And what is the biggest thing that you learned from that? Like, would you go into it with a far more researched festival plan after this, or would you?
Oh yeah.
Would you even?
I would not submit to more than like 5 or 10 at the very most festivals. I'd make sure that I was doing everything I could communicate with festival programmers or anybody that had any sort of role in the festival or new people in the festival. I mean, I would just consolidate on those festivals, because if you get into Sundance or South by Southwest, you're going to get into all the other festivals. So, and this is not to knock any other festival, and we debuted it at Newport Beach Film Festival, which was a great festival. And so, but in terms of just sort of building awareness of your film, no, those are great experiences, but they're not really pushing you into that area you want to be if you want to break through.
Do you feel that, if you're only going to go to like, say 10 festivals, are you going to just go to like the top 10, or are you going to research more things that, regardless, well, I guess it depends on what type of movie you're making. If it's a genre movie, obviously you're going to hit the genre fests.
Yeah.
But, I mean, would you...
I mean, you have to be thoughtful about it. And I'm not saying I would only go to them. I'm just saying if I'm going to spend money, that's where I'm going to spend my money. I wouldn't spend money trying to apply to 100 different festivals because it's just a total waste of money.
I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I go back and forth on festivals a lot. I really enjoy the festival experience. I do feel that it does provide a lot of exposure for films that don't necessarily, or will not necessarily ever make it to a theatrical type of platform, or even for that matter, DVD or VOD. I think it's there's definitely a lot of promise there for, some sort of networking and audience building. But the only problem I have with them is that, it gets expensive. And if you've already spent, 30, 40 grand on your movie or more, at tacking on another 10, 5 to 10 for travel and submission fees and promotions and all that other kind of stuff that goes along with going to a film festival can, really bankrupt you pretty quick.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not knocking festivals. This is not a problem with festivals. This is a problem with sort of managing your resources to get your movie on the screens. And I just don't think you can kind of just send your movie off and hope to get in. I mean, I think I've done better on Twitter just sort of getting exposure to different screenings and festivals and getting awareness that way, and we've done a lot of great screenings because of that. And that to me was infinitely more valuable than sitting around, filling out applications without a box and pressing send.
Now that said, using social media, now if you're on Twitter and you're promoting a movie like The Waterhole, www.thewaterhole.
Sorry, Patrick J. Adams.
Oh, yes, Patrick J. Adams. And, if you're on Twitter, are you actively pursuing, social connections with people like programmers, festival directors, stuff like that as part of like your overall strategy, or do you kind of sit back and do you use it purely so people get to know you as a screenwriter? Do you use it to even, I guess, above and beyond that, do you even use it to try to find more work? Because as a screenwriter and a producer, I mean, you're definitely in demand.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to put a new door on the front of my house because it keeps getting beaten down. I'm kind of in Jerry's world right now. But, no, I mean, look, I use Twitter. At first, I had no idea how I was using it. And then it became just sort of, I'd meet interesting people, i.e. you. God bless you, were the first person to give us a proper, nice review. And I found out about you through Twitter. And I met, other filmmakers, festivals, Perry at Annapolis, Pretentious Film Society, just like in conversation, not like trying to like seek out people that I thought could help me, but just that I thought were interesting and that we had something in common and we were all involved in this world of film. And it's, you meet anybody that you've met on Twitter in person, you very rarely surprised, like, oh my God, you are creepy, or you're not the person I thought. I mean, it's just been a tremendous value to me, just in, meeting kindred spirits.
I'll say that Twitter to me is like the reverse Match.com. Like very, very rarely do you run into someone who doesn't quote unquote fit their profile. You know what I mean? It's you listen to someone speak for so long that you do kind of get to know them as a person. And it's, I always find it funny when you end up referring to people by their Twitter handle versus their real name, just because that's what you know them as.
Oh my God, I know. I get introduced as Waterhole movies so often. It's like, that's true, but...
Yep. No,
that's how people are like, you're that person? Oh, wow.
Or you're the water holer guy, that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, no, it's cool, but yeah, I mean, as someone who in the past has used Match.com, I really should start using Twitter for dating more than that, because I've never shown up to a quote unquote like Twitter date or tweet up and been disappointed. You know what I mean? I've always kind of Twitter's always met my expectations, I guess I should say. And
likewise.
Yeah. So I mean, all right. So as far as that goes, have there been any mistakes that you feel that you guys made in promoting the Waterhole using through your social networks, or do you feel that like pretty much you've done pretty much all there is to do with that in terms of the promotion. Like, you've tweeted it, you've put, some trailers up on like Facebook and stuff like that, or whatever you've done. I mean, where do you feel that you guys have fallen short anywhere there?
I do. I don't know if I'd be able to put my finger on it because, we put our trailers everywhere. We interact on Facebook a little bit. Mostly I'm aggressive on Twitter just because I've seen results and it's been such a positive experience. I think, I guess the most amazing thing for me in terms of social media is that now that our star, Patrick J. Adams, has become like more of a big name and just got nominated for a SAG award for his role on Suits. I mean, all this crazy stuff. And this is one of our strategies early on was let's cast people that we think are going to be big names and sort of like let that happen. And you don't know when that's going to happen, so it sort of happened at the time when we're kind of done selling the movie. And so in the last few weeks, we kind of did this contest, and we sort of tapped into his sort of popularity. And you just look at the charts on Facebook and on Wildfire, the contest application we're using. And once Patrick starts talking about it, or once you kind of get that audience engaged, it just completely blows up. I mean, it's like exponentially the numbers just go off the charts. So, I don't know if before that, if we could have leveraged things better. I mean, I think, in terms of just once we started making the movie, we should have definitely been thinking more about marketing and reaching out, using social networks then, even though we weren't in a position where we had the crowdfund. The crowdfunding obviously provides like a great sort of base, like these are where our fans are going to start, right?
Right.
And so, we should have been doing that all along. So, I think any resource, whether financial or energy or educational, to kind of get yourself in a position where you're like, how am I going to find this audience, and do that as early as possible, is extremely valuable.
Now, that said, we do have a couple of comments here in the chat room that I think you need to be aware of. One of them is from Handsome Party. This is Nathan should say hello to Adam and Amber, his biggest fans.
Oh, hi, Adam and Amber. You are my biggest fans, and I really, really love you for that.
There you go. And then the other one is from our good friend Bella Wonder, and who says, Wonder Russell, for those you people out there, said, it should be a drinking game. Let's get waterholed tonight.
Yes, I am happy to get waterholed, and I'd love to do it with Wonder at some point, and I send out my best wishes and thoughts and prayers to her family, and I appreciate her tuning in tonight, too.
Nice. And she asked a question on Twitter as well. How do you chat with programmers at different festivals? Seriously, I like this knowledge and ability. How do you find them? And I will we'll address that a little bit later on in the show. But
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, literally, even like one of the bigger festivals we got into was the Hollywood Film Festival, which was great. We got to screen in Hollywood at the ArcLight Theater, and if you're not from LA, I mean, it's the best theater. Probably one of the best theaters in the world. I mean,
we just ran a contest with the ArcLight. We gave away a signed poster by the cast of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
See, you totally missed that, didn't you? You little bitch. No, I'm kidding. I don't know why I felt the need to go there.
Oh, I didn't even. God. Hi, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi.
But anyways, long story short, is like we never had any communication with anyone in the festival. I mean, when we tried to, it was just like fruitless. They just like kind of berate us for like not promoting our screening enough, even though they put us at like at 11 o'clock at night. So even though we were in the festival, like I had no idea how to reach out to somebody there. So
right.
To answer Wonder's question, I think you need to talk to people who have been in the festival. And even then, it's like, we knew people who had screened at CineQuest in San Jose and like wrote good letters on our behalf. I just talked to, Zach Forsman and I were talking about this the other night. They had like good leads for Heart of Now and some key festivals, and it didn't even pan out. But I think if you don't even have those leads, it's like you're just. It's the wishing well. I'm always calling it the wishing well.
Let me tell you guys a couple secrets. And
Okay. I love it.
here's some tips and tricks from your good old friends at FilmSnobbery. One of them is, and I'm sure as filmmakers, it's a completely different world for you. As someone who covers film festivals and gets approached by them for promotion and stuff like that all the time, it's a little different because they're coming to me. But usually, if I were in your place, what I would do is I would troll sites like LinkedIn. Because what they'll do is you'll find a bunch of people who in their profiles will flat out say senior programmer at Tribeca or something like that. As part of their job descriptions. And those people, what you do is you find out who they are, and then, if you don't stalk them, right on that social network, you stalk them on like Facebook or Twitter. That's one little trick because most of them are on multiple platforms. The other one is you guys said, talk to filmmakers that have been there before, but those filmmakers probably weren't involved or probably didn't get involved or speak to a lot of the programmers there either. Programmers are kind of funny because they don't always announce themselves as programmers. I have found it far more effective for making contacts within film festivals to get to know the people who run the festival, because typically the people who run the festival are the programmers, or they're either involved in the programming, or at the very least they're the people who are going to get you waivers, so you'll be able to, even if you don't get in, you're at least going to be able to submit your film for cheaper or free. And getting your film directly into their hands is always a good kind of plan to get in, because you know that it got there. It's not relying on without a box and the postal system and all that bullshit. If you can get your hands directly into the person who runs the festival, it's like any other business meeting. If you can get to the guy who's the guy or girl, I should say, who's in charge of making the decisions, that's the person you want to be in talks with. And that isn't necessarily the programmer. That is the person at the top. And if you can get to that person, then you're in a good shot right there. Every time.
And I agree. And I'm going to add to that real quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure.
And this is something, and it's not tested, but I heard at a festival or a panel or one of these things, that if you don't get into one of their festivals, like with us, what I would do is, if we when our next movie's sort of ready, I will send them, or we're prepping it, I will send them a copy of the Waterhole and say, look, we got rejected. I don't, kind of do that, sort of say, look, we still respect each other. Like, there's no bad blood, but this is a movie, and we've got a new movie coming out, and sort of, I've heard that it's a very good introduction to sort of the festival gatekeepers. Haven't tested it.
Okay. Yeah, and it looks like Mojave Musing, Michelle, in our chat room is talking about how about doing market research and doing social in real life networking to get films into markets and seen by people outside of fests, for the other hundreds of millions of people who may not go to film festivals that may form a part of your audience as a filmmaker throughout your career. Now, that said, to kind of go with that, I know a lot of filmmakers who, will do things like this, our show, that, they'll come on the show and they'll promote their movie, promote themselves, as a way to make new friends and whatnot and get people aware of their show. Then there's also, in real life, as you say, events like screening series and stuff like that, which I find that there aren't enough of. It was really funny. The other day, I went online, a friend of mine, another filmmaker friend of mine, emailed me and said, I have some new projects that are coming up. I want to know, what other shows are there like yours that I can go on to talk about my project and promote it? And I was like, fair enough, let me think about that. And I could think of like 4 offhand. It was like Us, Film Courage, Cutting Room Floor, Rex Sykes Movie Beat. And that was the only one. That's where I stopped. I was like, I don't know any other ones off the top of my head. And like, so I went to Twitter and I got another maybe 7 suggestions. I think I got like 10 or 11 in total. And it really surprised me that there don't seem to be as many shows promoting independent film like ours. I was really, really surprised. I thought that was a travesty. And then I was talking with Jerry the other day, and he was saying, or that same night rather, and he was saying that when he was going to promote Stuck Like Chuck, and he did all his research on different sites to either submit clips to or submit for interviews or reviews or whatever, he said that he found hundreds of sites that were completely dark. Like they were just shut down. Like some that were recommended by other people is like, this hasn't had a post since January of the year before, or whatever. So it was it's really kind of a funny thing in terms of for it's an uphill battle for you guys to promote your stuff. Doing in real life type of events too. The only problem I find with those, whether it's a tweet up or whatever, is yes, you have to have the existing user base there to make it successful to start with and to get the word of mouth out, and then also typically in real life stuff is going to turn into an expense of some sort. Unless you can find, people to partner up with, but then there's still the marketing expense to it. It's tough. It's tough. And let me think here. Go
I
ahead.
think, can I interject real quickly? Because that point is very well taken in terms of just where are these resources at. And I think Ted Hope, like a couple years ago, had a tweet like, where can undistributed films get reviewed? Obviously, we got a very nice review from you. We've had a handful of others. I think resources like us filmmakers, indie filmmakers, should try and band together as where are these sites? Because I like look at some of where like Gary King was getting reviews and go, well, maybe I'll send my DVD to them or another film. But there was never one location where I could go, oh, these guys review those films. And same with like interview shows like you. It's like, I don't know how I even clued into you on Twitter, but I did, and I kind of dug what you were doing, and that sort of, snowballs in me sending you the movie and blah, 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 blah. It'd be lovely to have a resource where we could all just sort of tap into that. I'm speaking hypothetically now, not like inspirationally, but...
Sure. No, and Michelle also makes another point of, finding other podcast sites, etc., that aren't necessarily catering to independent filmmakers and trying to interject into them. And she brings up Hunter Weeks, and we've had Hunter on this show talking about when he was doing Ride to Divide. But here's the only consideration to put with that, in that not every movie lends itself, especially an independent film, lends itself very well to cross-promotional opportunities with, say, like Hunter Weeks. They partnered with Livestrong, and you have like Mother's Red Dress does stuff with like United Way.
I want to speak to that, not interrupting you. But
please go ahead.
Because one thing is, like, as much as I'm acutely aware of audience building and knowing who your audience is before you make your movie, I do not think as filmmakers you should make that a deciding factor. And as I reflect, I realize the fact that my movie is about sort of 20-somethings moaning about their problems in a bar. That's not very compelling for festival directors. There's not a big audience clamoring for that, movie. And if I had overthought that, the movie would never have been made. And I think at the beginning of the day, you've got to just say, I'm going to make what I want to make, and you have to leverage whatever you can off of that. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, great, if you played your cards right. But I think as, artists, and I don't use that word lightly, you just have to go with your heart and make what you want to make and try and make it as best as you can. So,
no, I mean, for cross-promotion...
all of the considerations aside.
For cross-promotional opportunities, off the top of my head, the only thing off the top of my head, not the only thing I can think of, but one of the things I could think of doing would be like making poster type of coasters, like bar coasters, and passing them out at local bars and stuff like that. But then the idea is you're spending money on that, obviously, in time, because you have to get them produced. But what is, and I guess a lot of the questions come up here is where's the return on investment, either in eyeballs or in dollars? And at the end of the day, you want it to be dollars. Eyeballs are great if you are using.
You want both.
Yeah, I mean, eyeballs are great if you're using whatever project you're working on as a stepping stone to the next part. But it goes along with analyzing what your career goals are and what your goals for the movie are and your expectations. So if you say, okay, we're going to print up 1,000 bar coasters and we're going to pass them out at local bars, and then at say 2 months later, what we'll do is we'll hold or a month later we'll hold a screening at one of those bars. That we know that they've gone through them, or people have possibly been talking about it or whatever. So you have a plan there. But at the end of the day, who's buying the tickets for it, and how many people responded to that marketing effort, that campaign? Because at the end of the day, it is a campaign. Go ahead.
I mean, that's the thing with this is I always initially thought, well, there's bar crowd. This is a bar movie. And then you think about, like, after sort of presenting it that way, you think about, like, who really hangs out in bars and drinks a lot. Not a lot. I mean, there's a lot of filmmakers do, but not a lot of film fans necessarily. You know what I mean? So, like, those people would rather hang out in the bars and drink than go see, like, sort of a weighty relationship movie that happens to take place in a bar. So that's what I think where one of my sort of initial thoughts sort of backfired, because when we tried to do that when we did screenings in Reno and whatnot, screenings in downtown LA, approaching it that way just did not pay off. And you know, there's probably different factors for that, but yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely, there's no science to this. It's marketing. If people could figure out how to market movies perfectly, the movie studios would never have a bomb, you know?
Yeah, and I guess the big problem, and not only that, I mean, you're marketing at such a low budget level. Now, I say you being independent filmmakers, and hell, even myself, you know, is someone who works kind of on the fringe. Yeah, they're working with hundreds of millions of dollars. You're working with hundreds of dollars if you're lucky. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
it's you know, those cards are already stacked against you. Definitely thinking locally and acting locally is definitely a great chance to be able to build that audience and then work your way out. But the problem is that it can take a long time, and yes, you have to have a great product to go along with that. And one of the unfortunate parts of doing what I do is that there is, I'd say, there's a very high percentage of movies that I look at and I will just go, this is going nowhere. Like, you know, there's usually a redeeming quality somewhere, whether it's the writing or the acting or whatever, but there are some of these movies, a lot of these movies, I'll say even that, you know, I'm like, this isn't even going on VOD. This isn't going anywhere.
And I'll tell you what, because just jumping back a little, a lot of those movies get into Sundance and South by Southwest. And I'm not saying that to be snarky. I mean, that's the reality. I mean,
yeah. Well, South by is always catered to and I think we were saying it. Someone said it further up in the chat room earlier. You know, South by Southwest does tend to cater to a more mumblecore audience, a more DIY audience, not necessarily. And unless you are screening at, you know, like a prime time. Or you know somebody, because if you're screening at a prime time, you're not, you know, like opening night movie, closing night movie. They'll pick. First of all, they'll pick mainstream movies to screen, and second of all, they'll pick very high quality. I don't want to use the word quality, but high production value.
Budget.
I guess that's a thing too. High budgeted movies to show as well, and I understand that, but yeah, I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, I don't know. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm totally cool with all that, but, like, quality consistency is... Like, if there was quality along all that lines, I'd be fine, but there isn't, and again, quality is subjective, but there's a lot of movies that just go there and die because they're just not that good. It's like, well, why were they programmed? But, I mean, we could overthink this for days.
Oh, of course. At the end of the day, you have to... Go ahead.
But I know we are, I don't want to eat up all your time, and you have questions to get to. So, I was thinking, do you want to do a DVD giveaway now, or...
I say we should...
Totally...
I say we should do a DVD giveaway. So let's...
I'm all about it. I'm going to sign this DVD, and you know what I noticed that's hilarious to me is that at the time of this DVD was printed, the show that Patrick is in, called Suits, is actually listed as A Legal Mind on here before they actually changed the title before it got released. Which to me is amusing that I never noticed that before.
All right, so if you guys...
That's a collector's item.
Collector's item, and if you guys out there want your very own copy of The Waterhole signed by our guest tonight, Nathan Cole, Jerry, tell them how they can win.
I'm going to post something in the chat, and the very first person to put it up on Twitter and tweet it out will win the DVD. So I'm going to put it right now in the chat.
Nice.
And it says, watching at FilmSnobbery Live and at Waterhole Movie will not stop name-dropping Patrick J. Adams. Visit FilmSnobberyLive.com to see why. And change the monkey to the HTTP. So it's like, yeah, that's So I don't know why that happens. Our damn chat room.
But the funny part is that the link still works.
Yeah. I don't know. I do not understand that, but whatever. Get rid of the monkey and then put it. See, now you can't just copy and paste. You actually have to type.
Exactly. See, there we go.
Work.
So that's it. So and the first part, Jerry's going to kind of sit on that and make sure that that gets taken care of the way it needs to, and the winner's going to win a signed copy of the Waterhole movie by the screenwriter and producer of the movie, Nathan Cole. And,
oh my God, they're flowing in.
Are they? Are they really? See, if we don't see a lot of them, what's going to happen is it's because everyone's already bought it on Amazon. That's the thing.
Oh, I can tell you from my sales numbers that that's not the case.
And actually, let's talk a little bit about that. So let's talk about where the Waterhole is available, and let's talk about real quick, because I know that you probably want to get going soon. Let's talk real quick about any mistakes that you feel you would have made in your distribution strategy.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is sort of my new, obviously, hot button point in my own debate that I have in my mind, which is better for my wife because she doesn't have to listen to it. We at some point after we sort of made all these sort of initial, as we're calling them, mistakes, but maybe you wouldn't call them that, learning experiences. We were like, let's just go full in. So we were like, we have to get a sales rep, and we got a sales rep, and we paid for it, and which became fashionable for them a few years ago when the market dropped out of the indie film business. So, essentially we're spending more money to hopefully get our film distributed. Hear the same things, no stars, drama, not a horror, and there's just not a lot of offers. And so kind of midway through this process, I started prepping my business partner, Daniel, but we're going to have to self-distribute this. I mean, we're not going to get an offer. Everything I was reading in the trades or anywhere is like, people aren't buying these movies. And we started doing the research and reading, think outside the box office, and there's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of compelling reasons why you should self-distribute. And so I thought it was a foregone conclusion. And then we end up getting a deal through our current distributor, Vanguard. Mm-hmm. And, it was like, that was the deal. And it was a revenue share deal, no expenses. And
how long do they own the movie for?
Pardon?
How long do they own?
7 years.
That's not bad.
Not bad. We were like trying to get so that we would own digital, which I really wish we had been able to convince them of. But the thing is like, look, our rationalization was now we can say our film's picked up by a distributor, and I actually spoke with Zach Forsman, a few months ago, and he said, he was talking about it. He was like, that's valuable. That carries value, and I was like, yeah, good, yeah, you're right. And I still believe that, but as I look at sort of and backing up yet again, when I sat down with the distributor, I'm like, well, what about Netflix? What about this? What about that? And they were very like, look, don't get your hopes up. We'll try this, we'll try that, but we can't promise you anything.
Do you feel that there's anything that your distributor did that you couldn't do yourself?
Absolutely not. I mean, we got one nice review from somebody who's found the movie in a video rental store in Canada that I could not have done. And quite frankly, that's almost enough for me. You know what I mean? That's like almost enough reason for me to say, great, I'm glad we're doing this. But at the end of the day, no. I mean, I'd rather have gone through, distributor and done all my, VOD myself. I mean, right now they're just doing basically a CreateSpace Amazon DVD print on demand, which pretty much anyone could do. So,
Which actually reminds me, I mean, Jerry, if you want to just speak to it briefly, I mean, you had an idea with Stuck Like Chuck before you decided to put it out there for free as briefly as it was. What was you had a digital kind of VOD kind of hybrid distribution model you wanted to test out. What was that again? It was like Distribber with some other kind of similar things.
I don't even remember. I have it written down somewhere, but yeah, it was like Distribber mixed in with it wasn't Amazon's DVD on demand. It was Amazon's DVD on demand as well as Film Baby for their distribution to stores by doing their extended program where you don't get paid for 3 months more than usual. But the stores take a chance on you because they're not losing any money. Like, the stores don't have to pay for the movies up front. So you get actually in, more, video rental stores and stuff. But, yeah, that was, a whole big plan. Then I decided I'm releasing it for free instead. I was like, I don't want to be bothered with going to all these different companies.
Yeah.
There was more to it than that, though.
There was. But anyway, so thank you for that bit of useless commentary, Jerry.
Yeah, I wish I knew I was going to bring that up. I would have had the actual plan laid out because it was actually much more elegant than what I just rattled
Well,
on.
and I agree, which is why I brought it up, because it really did cover pretty well, and for a fairly low cost considering what he was doing. It covered VOD,
yeah, I think
DVD.
It came out to it was going to cost $2,000, but you'd be on tons of different platforms, but you'd be using 4 different services, but you still own the rights, and none of them were exclusive. So it worked out that you can do it with all these different companies. Maybe I'll post a blog about that or something. I'll look for my old notes on it.
There you go.
Wait,
That
so
way
I
it's
missed
not
it. What
completely-
how did it fall apart, or why were you not compelled?
There was just a whole bunch of reasons, but eventually I decided that I'd rather people just watch the film free and get the film out there than continue promoting it and trying to sell it to going through all these different outlets and trying to sell it in different ways.
Well, because also Jerry was trying to promote a movie that was already more than 3 years old. You know what I mean? And so it became really hard to keep people interested.
And another part of it was that if I had gotten this film out there and people actually got to watch Stuck Like Chuck, that would bode better for Stuck Like Chuck 2.
Exactly.
It would actually lead to more interest in that. And clearly that did not happen.
Clearly not. So yeah, no, but that's an interesting interesting commentary as far as your distributor and stuff like that, and how things have worked so far. Have you guys? Here's a very I guess candid question, but have you guys broken even on your movie yet?
Not even close.
Okay.
Nowhere even near close.
Is
Our
anyone
budget was
upset by that?
significantly higher than probably most. It was above the micro indie budget.
Okay. And
So yeah, no. I'm sorry, what?
No, I blanked out on the next question I was going to ask, so I literally just sat there with a dumb look on my face for a second, which is horrible when I'm on camera.
I'm sad I'm not watching it.
That's okay. That's okay. You'll get to see it in the archive once it's up, which should only be in a couple days. But I think that we've probably, if everyone hasn't already forgotten it, we've probably got a winner by now for the DVD, the signed DVD of The Waterhole, signed by Nathan Cole. Jerry, do you want to announce the winner?
By 1 second, Matt Jones won.
Who's Matt Jones?
Matt Jones is 271 Film. 271 Films, at 271 Films. I don't know who Matt Jones is, but I'm following him now, and he's following me. So thanks, Matt Jones. And show yourself in the chat room.
Yes, because obviously you're watching, so unless you were just tweeting stuff that other people were tweeting out randomly.
But then he wouldn't have won, because other people would have beat him.
Ah, good call. So congrats, Matt, whoever you are. So if you're lurking in the chat room, you should make yourself known. If you are just watching, you have to go ahead and figure out some way of getting your information to us. If you like, you can email me over at admin@filmsnobbery.com. Oh, excuse me, admin@filmsnobbery.com, and we'll need your deets, your name, address, phone number, the whole nine, and so we can get that out to you, and I'll forward it on to Nathan. And that's it. So
I'd just like to say that Zach Forsman and Wonder Russell were the second place. They were the ones. You don't get anything though, sorry, but they were off by a second. But they both
Wonder already has a copy of the movie.
Well, but she's already watched that copy.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly. You need another copy. She needs to get another copy so she can watch it again. That's how it works.
Yeah, she needs a fresh copy. So, I don't know. There's absolutely no, yeah, we got nothing.
I can arrange that, though, if there really is a deep need, by the way.
I want a commercial where I'm swimming in a sea of DVDs, of independent film DVDs.
You should have done that before you sold all your DVDs.
I know, right? Yeah.
I guarantee you, once you get out to LA, we can make that happen.
Lovely. And
and by we, I mean other people that I will help make that happen. Right?
we are everything. By the way, for this trip, everything Nick must go. So I am selling my my Canon, my camera. I'm selling a green screen behind me. I'm doing I got a lot of stuff. So, yay, we're selling things.
Can I buy it all and make you still bring it out here for me?
You can buy it all, and I will personally deliver it to you as long as you're in the LA area.
I'm going to consider this, and then when I get here, I'm like, not what I expected. I'm not paying.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. No, because Nathan wants to just recreate Film Snobbery Live for his own personal, in his own house, personal. He'll have me on every Thursday night, and he'll be like, do the show.
But there will actually be a Waterhole poster in the background.
That is the whole background, 'cause it's on a green screen. So I'm doing the show with nothing but a enlarged Waterhole poster behind me. And I see your kid running in front of the camera, stuff like that. So
I'm loving it. I'm loving all of it.
Yeah. So now let me ask you, if you were doing the Waterhole movie again now, if you were doing it right now, starting from scratch, would you have crowdfunded it?
Oh, I don't know. I like my easy answer is no. No way.
And pourquoi, s'il vous plaît? Why?
Because that is a lot of work, and I would rather get the money other ways. But crowdfunding is such a loaded subject with me, and I've sort of gone back and forth on this. And bottom line is, like, getting money to make a movie is such an incredibly difficult, clawing your way out of the womb sort of process. That however you can do it, like, God bless you. Do it, make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I see so many crowdfunding projects that are, they're so desperate, and
mine's going to be very desperate.
No, I feel like anyone who didn't give to Stuck Like Chuck 2 is an asshole, and who wants to live in a world like that?
I'm going to use that quote. I'm going to use that quote just so you know.
What?
Jerry said he's going to use that quote, just so you know. But the thing that you filmmakers have ahead of me, though, is that you guys, at least at the end of the day, have a product. You know what I mean? Like, for me, yes, we have the show, we have, other stuff, but it's not like people are paying for reviews, It's not like people are paying for, we don't really have a lot of swag per se. Like, one of the perks that we're going to have on the new campaign is, yes, you'll be able to get a Film Snobbery shirt, but you've got to donate $50, because it's going to cost us money to get and ship the shirt. So we have
I'll
to...
give you $25 for it.
Yeah, but that's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? Like, I have to make...
No.
Yeah, you have to make a significant profit. And then, the only other thing that I The only one, and the audience that's here, well, I think will get it. I was going to save it for kind of a surprise, but I think that the audience here will really get the reference. One of the perks we're going to do, it's a bit expensive. I think I put it at like $750, but it's called a month without rent. And it's literally, once I get an apartment in LA, if you're a filmmaker who's also trying to struggle to make it out to LA, you can come and live with me for a month. And I will put you up on my couch or wherever, and you know, as you get your feet under you, you know, to kind of start your career out there, I will be there to, you know, to you can use my place. You know what I mean? So that's, you know, to me, that's something that I think that not a lot of people would offer, and that, you know, yes, it's a bit pricey, but it's basically like you're prepaying for your spot, because, you know, $750, that's a month's rent anywhere in California, I'm guessing, for the most part.
You realize that we have warm weather and beaches here, right? Because some people could just sleep on a beach.
That's my plan.
I kid.
Oh, by the way, and Gary King said, side topic, is that a real plant behind you on your picture, or is that a gobo?
That's a real Southern California palm, Gary. You would know that if you weren't in some apartment in Queens, is it? I'm just kidding. I have nothing against Gary being in the East Coast, except for he's too far away from me.
That is true. I will miss being driving distance from New York. I think that will be one of the biggest things that I miss. Because, I mean, I'll be honest, Boston doesn't have, and I'm not even in Boston, I'm like an hour and a half outside of Boston, doesn't really have the hugest indie community. You know, if I really want to feel like I'm surrounded by those type of creative people, I go to New York. I'm really looking forward to having that feeling again when I go to LA, because that is something that I really feed off of, and it motivates me quite a bit. Kind of like every time I go to a film festival, I always have that kind of afterglow of a film festival, even if it's kind of a shitty one, because I get to just be surrounded by filmmakers, and it kind of reminds me why I do what I do. So.
Look, that is a beautiful feeling, and we are very much looking forward to having you out here, and I will try and find a decent barbecue place that we can have a beer and some barbecue at.
Oh, beer and barbecue. I love me some barbecue, but you know that. We've gotten barbecue.
Exactly. See, I'm referencing things that have happened between us.
Yes.
To establish further connection.
Exactly. So, that said, what are you working on next?
Well, again, a lot of energy still to sort of getting the water hole out there, which is ridiculous because it's been forever. But we have two scripts that I'm fairly comfortable with, and one's another independent drama, which sort of we're scared by because it's like, well, what do you do with it unless you fit all these parameters we've already discussed. And then another is a supernatural thriller, which I'm scared by because just to say that seems like I'm making one of those movies to try and get picked up by Lionsgate and star like some, washed up B-actors. So, we're talking to some investors and getting some feedback on the scripts. And I mean, I think if we do another independent sort of character-driven drama, I think we could do it for cheaper, and we have a lot more resources and friends and access to, great actors now. And so it's kind of compelling to do that. It's something I would definitely direct. But I think, I've been having this discussion a lot with other filmmakers. It's like, well, how do you make a living on this? Because, I don't want to work my day job anymore, and I want to be able to, I want my kid to be clothed and not like in the streets looking like an urchin and begging for food. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, and I completely understand. I mean, this is what I do for a job. I mean, I don't have a day job, but I am definitely worried of like, going outside of the norm and jeopardizing, those things like, especially if you're married with a kid, you can't just quit your day job. You gotta have, you gotta earn. For me, it's a little different because I don't have that responsibility. For me, it's just, if I want to move, I got to go. But obviously, I have to be in a place and with resources that allow me to continue to do this for a living. And how do you sustain? I don't know. I was hoping you were going to tell me during this interview. because I gotta tell you,
suffering, lots of suffering. I mean, I have this roof over my head in a, very, like, in a house anywhere else in the world that would be like a mansion compared to, pricing in LA. But, so I can't complain, but it's definitely a lot of work and, not having enough time to do things you want to do, ideally, but...
Sure. No, I
can't
understand.
complain.
But, that it's good to hear that you've got more going on after, Waterhole. One of the biggest things that I love about doing this job is talking to people like yourself who, you've made one movie and now you're going to make another. Same thing with like Zach and Gary and all these other people that we've met over the years, except for Jerry, and who are making their second film. No, Jerry is actually I am very, very proud and will always be very, very proud of Jerry because even when he got the shit kicked out of him pretty heavily on that crowdfunding campaign and all that, he didn't give up. He wrote 2 more scripts. He just optioned one of them, and he's got the other one out there now waiting for people to buy up. And even if he's not directing the movie, he understands that his strength is in writing, and he'll sell a movie and then take that money and go, he'll go and make whatever he wants. So he's got a good plan, and I have nothing but respect for Jerry, and I've always said that it's going to be very sad when he's not a part of the show proper anymore once I go out to LA, but fuck him.
You're the one that hired me.
Actually, Jerry needs to be in LA, and I've told him this repeatedly, and he ignores my advice, but...
I'm waiting for Nick to get settled, and then I'm going to crash on his couch.
Jerry's going to use me.
$750 a month.
Yeah, exactly. No, Jerry's going to use me. That's what's going to happen.
I'll do what I do when I forget someone's birthday or something. Nick, instead of rent this month, I'm just going to name a character after you.
Oh, there you go. You're going to be like the Kramer to my Seinfeld. That's really what you're going to be. Like, you just kind of, you walk in and you just take stuff out of the fridge and stuff like that, and you cook up harebrained schemes for me to be a part of. And Mojave, Michelle says,
right.
She says, why can't he be part of the show proper when you're in LA? Oh, because I have another co-host coming on. And you guys will actually be able to talk to her next week. She's going to come in.
And her name's Tori Spelling.
No.
All right.
No.
A stab in the dark.
That good call. No, she is a very talented actress by the name of Leah Savoli, and she's done some web series work. She's also been on Robot Chicken. She's been on Deadwood. She's very nice, and
wow, she's infinitely better than Tori Spelling then.
Infinitely better than Tori Spelling, yes, and she's totally cool. She's actually a part of the Kickstarter project going on right now called Jedi Camp that our friend here in the
Bill's doing.
Yeah, Bill, First Glance Film. Yeah, he's doing that, and she's a part of it as well, and so people should donate to that because they only got like 11 or 10 days left. So just give them money, but save money for when I do my project. Because that's coming up March 1st. So whoever the first person is to donate, I don't know, I'll thank them. I don't really have a plan yet. But much like my California plan in general, there is no plan. The plan is that there is no plan, and the plan is going according to plan. So that is what's going on. So Nathan, I want to thank you for stopping by. Was there anything else that we definitely that you specifically wanted to cover that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Nope, I feel like we beat it all to death beautifully.
I love it.
Thank you so much, Nick, and thank you for all the support you've given to AR Movie and any independent film makers and the scene and all the work you do, and I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to having you in Los Angeles, and I will crash whatever set you do broadcast from. So.
Nice. Well, thank you, and I do appreciate it, but just remember that I don't have a job unless you guys are doing your jobs and making these movies. So I'm the one who's grateful for you guys giving me the opportunity via being creative to be able to do something cool that isn't like, washing dishes in a diner or something like that, or working in a cubicle. So I am infinitely grateful to you guys all out there as well, not just saying that to Nathan, but to everyone who's watching. So cool beans. Thank you very much.
Good night. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, you will, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was our good friend Nathan Cole. We're going to go ahead and we're going to just going to cut to a quick little commercial for our friends over at Indie Picks Unlimited. Oh, Hello, I just heard myself. And when we come back, we're going to talk about, we have some questions that we did on like a Twitter Q&A that we did recently. We're just going to kind of talk a little bit about some cross-marketing and some differences between marketing via Twitter and Facebook. And we're also going to take your questions. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Go look, Indie Picks Unlimited, good stuff. If you don't subscribe to them, you should because they're kind of cool. I like them. IndiePicksUnlimited.com, or you can get to them, I think, probably also from IndiePicks.com. But anyways, so we were talking with some people on Twitter, and we were getting a lot of questions about social media marketing, and we wanted to kind of address some of that. Now, the questions we had specifically regarding like Twitter and Facebook, what's the best way to kind of market yourself, your film, your production company, whatever, on Twitter and Facebook, and is there a difference in how you would do it? Well, for me, I would say the big difference is a visual difference. When you go ahead and you post things to Facebook, typically, you know, especially like movie clips and pictures and stuff like that, you can see it right on the wall. There's no extra clicking. With, you know, Twitter, you usually have to upload something, you know, via something and then either link it or, you know, attach it via like a TwitPic or something like that. So, I mean, there's obvious things like that giving people, you know, the extra click that they'll have to do something. But honestly, I don't really feel that like one works better than the other, another necessarily. I will say that stop people out there creating fucking groups, because groups keep getting shut down because Facebook is trying to move away from groups. They want pages. So the next time you have a production company, whatever the fuck you're doing, please create a page for your group, not a page for your production, not a group. That said, we are...
Well, you know the big problem with pages.
What is the big problem with pages, Jerry?
You can't mass message everyone that likes your page, but groups, you can mass message everyone that was in your group. That's why so many people still join groups, but groups suck. Yeah, I don't like groups, but that's the only thing that they should bring over from groups to pages, and then no one will create groups anymore, I think.
I agree, but and then also on top of it, like I said, I mean, Facebook is actively closing groups down systematically, regardless of activity, and I think they're doing, obviously, the lowest numbered groups, like the people have the lowest amount of members. They're shutting those down first, but it's going to go away, and you're going to lose all the people that you have built up in that group, because when you do a page, you can't convert those people over. So you're going to have to go and hunt for them all over again and make sure that they rejoin. So when you do it as a page. Plus, in terms of search results, in terms of even just the URL, rather than having a group URL for this, which is, you know, for Facebook, which is typically a lot longer from what I understand, like for us, our page, our you know, fan page, whatever you want to call it, our business page even for Facebook is facebook.com/FilmSnobbery. Why wouldn't you want something that fucking simple? So consider that next time. Just saying. So I know. I'm just kind of checking out.
I like
the chat.
Jack Forsman's advice.
What is that?
What works better than both Facebook and Twitter for getting a bunch of people to see your movie? Casting stars.
Right. Let's see. And all other channels that predate the shiny world of social media marketing experts that are part of them. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the whole social media marketing expert. I don't ever claim to be. You know, all I know is I know tech That is what I know. That doesn't make me a social media marketing expert, doesn't necessarily make me any type of marketing expert, but I do know tech, and I will tell you right now that that you can very easily cross-promote across and use them, Twitter, Facebook, stuff like that, to complement each other. Like we tend to run a lot of contests for people that are watching the show on Twitter. Why? Because we found that doing it on Facebook, not everyone necessarily follows us on Facebook, but most people follow us on Twitter. So we'll run contests and stuff like that on Twitter. But if we're doing announcements and events, things that we need physical people to interact with, or people to physically interact with, whether it's screenings or crowdfunding campaigns, stuff like that, we really get a lot better response on Facebook. But obviously we cross-post between the two. We have our site set up so that when we do post an article or we post a review, it posts to both. Using different tools. I measure my social media analytics on both sites just to make sure that they're both there is growth on both, and we have found that Twitter has been certainly a more it's been better for us, but Facebook we still use for a lot of different things. I mean, Facebook is also good too because there are a lot of integrated apps that you can use with Facebook as well. Whether it's MailChimp has you can embed your your newsletters or mailing list sign up sheet on there. The different tabs and stuff like that you can have. Now they even have it so you can customize full on welcome screens for people, and I notice a lot of people are doing that for movies and stuff like that, making interactive kind of almost websites that when you go to their Facebook page, that's the first thing you see is this interactive kind of website clone or stuff like that. So there's a lot of different things you can do. Let's see. Let's see, who in the what and the how is going on here.
Just adding on to that,
yes.
I noticed that when I was doing my horribly unsuccessful crowdfunding campaign, the people that I did get to contribute or help out with the campaign mostly came from Twitter.
There you go.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, Twitter I find you get a more immediate response from. I find that Facebook is good if, I'll go on Facebook all day because in different parts of the day because I know that I can kind of go back through my timeline and I can kind of see what's gone on at different parts of the day. You really can't do that with Twitter. Twitter is more of what happened in the past 5 minutes, unless it's trending.
5 seconds.
yeah, depending on what your Twitter feed looks like.
The more followers you get, it gets to the point where it's you have to refresh it every 10 seconds.
Yeah. No, I know. I literally, the other night I was on Twitter for most of the night, and I literally just kept hitting refresh, and I'd have another 30, tweets that I'd have to read through,
I've noticed that on Twitter is kind of like just bumping into a friend in quick chat, and then usually if you want to talk more or whatever, you move over to Facebook. That's what it seems to happen. I meet people on Twitter, and then I friend them on Facebook, and then that's when we have conversations in the chat room,
right?
And I get to know them by checking out their info and stuff, and Facebook's stalking them.
And plus and plus they're that you have the ability to also not only are you looking at their their profile and stuff like that, but they have a kind of email and instant messaging capability too that is unlimited that Twitter doesn't have. I mean, Twitter has direct messages, but they're still limited by the 140 characters.
Yeah.
So are you now, Zach, and you even brought up briefly Pinterest. Have you started using that?
No.
I started using it as a way to...
I was you're asking Zach, and then I'm oh no, he must be asking me. There's no one else.
Yeah, but so you're not using Pinterest at all?
I've not even signed up for
Okay.
it.
I signed up for it because I wanted to get an idea of what was up with it, and yes, we've gotten a decent amount of followers to start with on it and stuff like that. We're nowhere near a power user level or anything like that, but I find it interesting, but I find it frustrating at the same time. I'm trying to find the return on investment aspect of it. Not only
what exactly is the point of that site?
The point is that you recommend a bunch of stuff, you put them up on bulletin board. It's literally like a college bulletin board. This is something you can relate to. You go to a college bulletin board and you see a bunch of people, a bunch of things that people
really exist anymore. It's not in my college, but
okay. Well, shut the fuck up and play along. God damn you. You are really like the fucking Scott Mosier of the show, where like I'm Kevin Smith and I'm trying to paint like a word fucking picture, and you're like, well, it's nothing like that, Nick, and I'm like, fucking shut up, play along. All right, so here's the deal. So it's like a college bulletin board where like you have a bunch of things that people are putting up there, whether it's, hey, check out my band, check out this is another cool thing, an advertisement for this, a picture of this, or whatever. And that's basically what it is. It's you creating an online bulletin board that is full of sites, pictures, they don't really do videos, but really it's, sites and stuff like that, things that interest you or things that you want other people to look at. I do see a marketing, I definitely see marketing potential for it, but I don't really see...
I don't know, it doesn't seem all that different from like a Tumblr.
I mean, or like those paperly type of things that you see.
I hate those.
I don't necessarily hate them when they're well done.
Most of the time, though, it's like I get it. It's like this week's daily is out, or today's daily is out, and it has like a link, and I click on it because it's like sent to me, and then like I scroll through like 5 pages, and I find like a tweet I did where I retweeted someone, and it's not even my tweet, and it's like connecting me to it. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I went through all this, I thought someone was talking about me, or like they were promoting my stuff. I'm like, nope, not at all.
And Michelle mentioned something in the chat room, maybe not necessarily in regards to Pinterest, but she said something about you have to engage in two-way dialogue, not just broadcast. And that is, I think, where the downfall with Pinterest and help me out here, those paperly things is where, yes, you are... whether you're collecting things from other people, and yeah, like on Pinterest you can repin things, which I guess is the equivalent of a retweet.
Or sharing.
Yeah. But there's no dialogue in that kind of social, there's no conversation, you know what I mean? It's like, and Pinterest is very, very limited to what you see on the front page. Unless you're stocking your own stuff, which, you can look at your own boards and you can look at other specific people's boards, but you can't, when you look at the front page of Pinterest, it's just a mashup of shit that is going to be gone in the next 5 minutes. It's going to be completely changed. So, it's, I don't know.
It's a fad.
Yeah. Well, it's the thing about Pinterest that I don't know if you know is Pinterest is the largest and fastest, or I should say largest, is the fastest growing website in the world.
It's been around since 2007.
What, Pinterest?
Yeah.
Well, supposedly what the all the tech.
It just all of a sudden it blew up now, but it's actually been beta testing since 2007, where there's been like thousands of users using it, and like then it opened up like a year after that, and then all of a sudden it just blew up earlier this year. Which I don't know. Are you on? I asked you before. I don't think you heard Google Plus. Are you still using that?
I'm on it. I'll occasionally use it, but honestly not. Yeah. I mean, I've stopped like accumulating friends in my circles and shit like that. I mean, I still get people that put me on theirs all the time, but I haven't really done anything with it because I don't see the return on investment in terms of time and interest. But we do have
it's like the mating of Twitter and Facebook, kind of like it's like. There's really not that much different, except like it's kind of all in one place. But I still haven't done like a Hangout or anything, because when I've tried to do it, my computer's too outdated to use Google Hangouts, so I can't do Google Hangouts with anybody. And that's like the main reason why people still are using Google Plus, I've heard, like the Muppets commercial and everything. So, yeah. I can't comment on Google Hangouts.
I honestly, I wanted to try using Google Hangouts here on this show, like where... Like, say, Jerry, you weren't necessarily, like, the co-host, you know what I mean? But instead, I have 6 other people or whatever, how many people you can add to it, like 5 or 10 other people that I can go to get commentary from at any given time during the show, where they're seeing the show filmed live while they're on the Hangout, but we can literally go to them for commentary. I always thought that would have been a cool feature to have.
That can be our audience.
Kind of, yeah. Like, that's the studio audience aspect.
I've wanted to do, because I heard, like, some filmmakers are trying to do it, or, like, they've been putting short films. I wanted to do, like, a screening of Stuck Like Chuck on Google Hangouts, where just, like, anyone could, like, basically you would have had to see the film first, but like an open commentary while the film is playing.
Because we have, I mean, especially with like either my laptop here or like my tablet or whatever, we have the ability to do that. And I've always wanted to try it out, but like it's just never been a good time. And we'd have to test it. You know, I don't want to do it like on a show like as the test. But you know, maybe when we go to LA, maybe that'd be something fun to do, or maybe even just whatever. You know, we could check it out. But yeah, social media is. I just integrated. I'm interrupting myself now. I just integrated into FilmSnobbery.com, the website, our back end. We use WordPress. I just integrated a plugin called Social Metrics that I really, really dig. Like I didn't know 100% what it was until I installed it. And what it does is for every post that we put out. Now for us, it makes sense because we put out, I mean, every review we do is a post, every interview we do is a post, whatever. For production, for you guys, may or may not make sense unless you're doing like daily updates and stuff. But what it does is it tracks all the social reach that your post has done across Twitter, Facebook, I think it's StumbleUpon, Dig, and LinkedIn. And it will tell you like how many retweets, how many shares, how many, all that kind of stuff for each post. And not only, if you're looking at the actual dashboard of it, the cool thing is if you're like, oh, I forgot to put it on LinkedIn or something like that, you can just click on the LinkedIn button and it'll share it out automatically. For me, I used it for like 5 minutes and I was sold on it. And by sold, I mean I didn't pay a cent for it. There is a premium model, but the free version is awesome. So if you guys are using WordPress as your back end, look up the plugin called Social Metrics. Really awesome. I actually have an article coming out on masteringfilm.com soon I give 5 plugins that are good for filmmakers. I have another one that's coming up that also addresses checking what I like to call checking the box office which for filmmakers would mean it's really more of like your online box office tech stuff like your Google Analytics, checking your, social analytics and all that kind of stuff. So we've got a couple articles coming out in the near future on masteringfilm.com that I wrote that will address some of that stuff. So hopefully that'll answer some more questions down the road. Or at least we'll give you guys some hints and, cool things that you guys can try and look out for. So anyways, let me see here. Let's see.
Dead.
I know, but I'm trying to look at the chat room to kind of like get some more things to talk about, and there's really nothing specific to there's no other questions or anything like that. So I think that
Nathan, that is true. I'll just throw that out there while you're looking if you're looking for something in the chat. I told him that I have a Warhol postcard on I have like my dresser has like all postcards and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I have a Warhol right next to a mini poster of Say Anything.
Yeah, he has a postcard mosaic on his like closet door or cabinet door.
Projections on the other side of it.
Yeah. I actually have the Waterhole poster is up. It's right over there. The signed one that we have says Nick, thanks for the support. And it's signed by Nathan, and it's it's right there. It's actually right next to a Heart of Now poster, which is also right next to a New York Lately poster. And my What's Up Lovely poster is right there too. All off camera.
And where's your Stuck Like Chuck poster?
I don't have a Stuck Like Chuck poster.
Yeah, I know.
Do you even have a Stuck Like Chuck poster?
Yeah. I have like 10 of them in my closet.
Why don't I have one?
I don't know.
Send me one and I'll take it to LA with me.
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna pay to mail out a poster.
Oh god damn, you suck, you cheap bitch.
Didn't I give you a mini poster though? Like
No.
11 by 17?
No, you never did. I swear to God.
I thought I did.
I have a door hanger. That's all I have.
Yeah, you got a door. You got stickers.
Not anymore.
Oh, you've given them all
No,
out?
you took them. Remember?
I took them back?
Yeah, you took them when we were in Orlando because you had it was in. Remember, it was in my car and it was in that like.
I just give you another stack.
Yeah, exactly. It was in my glove box.
Stack. Okay.
Yeah, so you took them all. But yeah, I still have all you guys' posters. I'm trying to figure out the best way for me to. I want to take them with me, but there are so many different sizes of them that there's no like effective way for me to pack them, and I don't want to like fold them or whatever. I'd like to roll them and whatever. Plus, it sucks because they're kind of stapled to the wall, so getting them off has been a bit of a chore. I ripped our one from the not bad, but just the corners. I ripped our one from the our Day at the Palace screening series that we did. But I have extras of that, so no biggie. Anyway,
Oh yeah, that was fun putting all those up when I got there.
oh come on, we did like it only took like 2 minutes, didn't it?
No, because you went on to do other things while I put up the posters, and I had to pry open their the shadow box.
Oh
And
right.
they have their irregular shadow box that like you gotta shove a screwdriver into to jimmy the door open on it and stuff.
That's right. I completely forgot that like I sent you off to do grunt work while I
Yeah, and I ended up taking like more than a half hour because like then like I put up the poster and then like the person that was in charge of the theater was like, I don't like it there, let's put it here. Kept moving it around. I'm like, it's gonna be seen by the same like people because it's literally I don't like it here. Let's move it to 2 feet this way. Like that doesn't make sense, but okay.
But it's the thing about these posters. I'm kind of reading in the chat room like what people think what I should do. And the thing is, like, I'm trying to be careful like taking them down. And it's not like just regular staples. It's like those like I don't want to call them industrial staples, but they're the like. You know, I use a staple gun to put them in, so they're kind of thick and heavy. But what I wanted, like me, but what I wanted,
To say that.
I knew you were thinking it, so I was just like, I'm gonna beat him to it. But what I want to do eventually is when I get a place and it's nice and I have money to afford it, I want to frame all of them and I want to showcase them in my house or my apartment or wherever it is I am because I love all these posters. I mean, they're awesome, and I mean, some of them have personal notes on them. Some of them signed, like I have one here from Angelo Bell for the Broken Hearts Club that has like the date on it, 8/11/2010. You know, and that was shortly before, like, you know, that was a while ago. You know, we
I don't
have.
know what you talking about like destroying your posters. It reminded me. Do you remember? I don't know if you were there at the end of the second screening of Stuck Like Chuck at the Staten Island Film Festival. When after the screening let out, we all like came out after the Q&A and everything. We came out, and I just saw the volunteers ripping my posters
Yes.
off the wall. And I went ape shit. And I'm like, where are the posters? And they're like, oh, we're keeping them all in a safe place. We're rolling them up. And I saw people ripping them off. And I'm like, no. One student at the school there stole one of the posters.
Yep.
And then like I had 4 like full-size posters up, and I was able to recover 2 of them. And one of them was stolen, and another one apparently they're like, oh, we're gonna get it back to you. We're folding all the posters, keeping them really nice. I later found out that the volunteers just threw them all into a dumpster,
Ugh.
and so no one got their posters back. So that was fun.
That's rough because those are expensive.
They
you know?
are. Yeah. Well, I got lucky though. I got a really good deal on the posters.
And
usually though they're
real
about
quick,
$30
because
each if you get it cheap.
While I have Gary King here in the chat room, I have to ask him directly, did you ever end up calling or using that contact that I gave you for movie posters? And if he was too expensive, let me know. If you did contact him, if he was too expensive, let me know because I want to have a talk with him about offering discounts for filmmakers, specifically because I know that if I'm going to refer a lot of work to him, I bet you I can get those prices down pretty good. So I just don't know if you had an opportunity to talk to him or not because Gary had put out a tweet or a Facebook message, I can't remember which one it was, not too long ago saying, hey, do you know anyone who prints out posters, you know, for stuff? And I had given him a contact of mine, and I just wasn't sure 100% if he had gotten in contact or not. So anyway,
Well, while we're still on the subject.
oh, fuck Vistaprint.
Well,
Sorry.
I like got print instead. But Paul Osborne, director of Official Rejection, his balls. Let's throw that in there too for Nathan.
Nathan's balls.
Yeah, one of his piece of advice that I think is in Official Rejection, or it's at least on the DVD, is you buy your movie posters, your one sheets in bulk, because a lot of times you can get them cheaper. Like from like a site like Got Print, you can usually get I think 1,000 posters full size shipped for like $500. And that's a lot cheaper than if you're buying like 1 or 2 for $30 or $40 from like a local print shop or stuff. So sometimes you can buy them in bulk a lot cheaper, and that's why he was giving them away. And you see him giving them away in the movie, like they used to give away Official Rejection posters.
Right.
But yeah, like that's a little tip out there that.
Well, and here's the thing too, like if
ruined like store shitloads of posters.
Well, here's another tip as well that I don't think that you guys know about is that, especially with my guy, like if I know that 3 or 4 of you guys need posters, but you only need like 5 or 6 of them a piece, or 10 or 20, whatever the amount is. If we put all the orders in at once, it doesn't matter that it's 3 different posters. It's the paper. You know what I mean? That's the paper and the ink are the costs. So I mean that's. Okay. But
Gary just said he got $45 per poster.
Yes. See,
I paid $10 a poster.
Yeah. See, here's the thing.
Posters.
Even if, well, first of all, here's the deal, Jerry. No one's going to compete with online pricing. That's just what it is. But this guy is a local, like he's a like a mom and pop shop. But I wish you would have told me, Gary. I would have been happy to talk to him and talked him down for you, because I probably could have gotten you a decent deal. But the fact is that if you guys are doing if I know enough people are doing these multiple prints, submit them all at once, and you probably get a really nice, healthy bulk discount. So anyway.
Okay, everyone's asking where I got the posters. So Zazzle, you can have like a store online too where people can buy your posters and stuff. The thing is, usually a 27 by 40 poster is going to cost you like $40 on that site. Sometimes, like, it depends on the pricing on it. If you buy in bulk, usually there's like a 10% discount. But every once in a while, they'll do a massive, like, 50% off posters.
Right. And
then they'll add on and do, like, if you buy them between, like, 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. on this Friday, there's an additional 20% off or something.
Right, but
I got in on this great deal where the posters, I think, were 90% off.
Yeah, but you know as well as I do, though, that most people, rational fucking people in the world, don't watch shit like that like you do.
Well, yeah, but if you sign up for like their email, you'll get like an email. Like usually every Friday they have like one of their massive sales.
Right, but what I'm kind of getting at with that too is that was like I don't want to say a once in a lifetime, but that was a infrequent event that happened when you needed to have something printed. Like if Gary needs something printed tomorrow, Zazzle doesn't have that deal available.
Okay, but even if that was infrequent, they often do have coupons for like 20% off and stuff. So usually you could still get them for around 25 to 30, which is still cheaper than a local place, and they have very good quality.
I'm just saying though that you need to manage expectations is what I'm saying. Like if you literally just put out there $10 for fucking posters, 27 by 40 posters, you need to quantify that with it was a special sale.
I wanted to clarify it, and I was gonna actually say something, and then you interrupted me.
Yeah. Oh.
And then I started talking in the chat room, and I was like, "This is gonna go on too long. Let me just bring it up on the show."
Nice backtracking. Okay, we'll allow that. So anyway, I don't have a beef with Vistaprint. I just find David Foldy in the chat room asked what's my beef with Vistaprint. I don't have a beef with Vistaprint. Actually, their business cards were the first business cards I ever had. The problem I do have with them, and they are cheap, but they're limited, and they're honestly, I was never very happy with the quality. I always felt that they felt very like I could have made this at home. And the cards themselves were a little on the thin side. They didn't feel like they had any substance to them.
But your first 200 are free.
Yeah, no shit, right? But here's the thing though. I mean, I use Moo. I love Moo.com. Not only because their standard size business cards are they're not even standard size, they're European size, so they stand out a little bit more. The card stock is always thick. They have a nice silk screen.
Expensive,
they're expensive, but fuck if you don't get what you pay for. And then the mini cards, the Moo Minis are the shit. Oh my god. And no, I don't know. Jerry, I've seen the stuff that you got from Gotprint, and I'm not saying I don't like it, but I will still go with Moo.
Well, I buy the cheaper stock.
Because I
the more expensive stock.
I've gotten things from Gotprint too. That's where I got my postcards for my postcards for when I went to and did my I Love You, but I Want to See Other Movies at the Sidewalk Film Festival in Birmingham, Alabama.
Ship them to my house.
Yeah, no. I had my business card shipped to your house, didn't I?
Okay, yeah.
I had something shipped to your house. I think it was it was Indiegogo swag to give away.
You had something of your own shipped to my house too.
Maybe I did. I don't remember. I did. It was my business cards and the Indiegogo swag.
Yeah, to get them in time for.
I got the business cards while I was at your house. I got the Indiegogo swag when we came back.
Yes.
There we go. And then, anyway, so... anyway, for those of you guys who followed all that, I like what I got for Print, but I paid for the quality, you know, and I find that's what's going to happen anywhere. Like, the higher quality you want anything, the more it's going to cost. And, you know, with Moo, at least it's straightforward enough and, like, very, like, especially once you've already completed one order, the reorder ability is just like, here's a button, boom, done. And, you know, whatever. And I love the Moo mini cards. People love those. I love the ability to be able to do multiple, you know, fronts and backs, like multiple versions of it in the same order. There's a lot of things I love about Moo. Vistaprint, they just feel cheap. Don't get me wrong, they're quick, they are inexpensive, but they feel cheap. Anyways, I was going to use them for our t-shirts, but they're even making t-shirts with them is a pain in the fucking ass, and they don't even do custom graphics. They have to pick stuff from theirs, and the stuff that I wanted to use it looked like garbage. I was very dissatisfied. That said, their customer service is good. I'll give that to them. They're better than Charter.
Their products are shit, but I love their customer service.
Pretty much. I think if you are just getting started in the industry or something like that, and that's all you can afford, fine, go to Vistaprint. But if you want to make...
That's better than printing out on computer
Totally.
paper and then cutting it out.
Yeah.
Like, not even the Staples brand with, like, perforated edges. Like, I've seen people actually just print out on regular computer paper.
I've seen it
and
too.
Cut it out.
Yeah, I've totally...
Actually, Becca, I got one of those. And I'm like, really? You're even though you're a shorts filmmaker, you're still a Tribeca.
See, you guys all, I mean, I say you guys all, I don't mean necessarily my audience that's, you know, here watching this in the chat room, but anyone who's out there watching this, you have to understand that, like, your presentation when you go places is a mark of how people react to you and your movie. You know, I don't know. And part of that presentation is what they leave with. It's not just necessarily your first impression, but it's also what you leave them with. That means your postcards, your posters, your business cards, shit like that. And I collect business cards. I love business cards. I love seeing the creativity and the effort that goes into making that impression.
I've seen some clever ones that are really cheap. Like, I saw, again, at Tribeca for the movie Con Artist, the director of that movie, I forgot his name off the top of my head, but but I remember his business cards. He printed his business cards on pages ripped out of a black and white marble notebook.
Huh.
But it was like a thicker sheet, but it was from like a black and white notebook, and he ripped them out, and it was like sketching. And it was because he did a movie about like an artist and that did sketches and stuff, and it really worked. It fit the mood of the film, and it was memorable. But they were cut to regular business card size, and that's obviously cheap. He could have printed them on his home computer. So I thought that was kind of cool, and that's, you know, you can do that cheap and creative, but just cheap isn't good.
There you go. So, anyways, people, I think that, you know, we've talked a little bit about the you know, kind of leveraging social media and stuff like that. We talked about different platforms. At the end of the day, you want to, you know, you want to play both of them to their strengths, but also cross promote between them and make sure that, you know, people know that all of them exist that you're using. We talked a little bit about Pinterest. We talked a little bit. One last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here, Jerry, is I want to get the audience's response on this new thing that is just coming out called Tug.com. We saw a kind of a version of this back in the day, about a couple years ago, with this thing called Open Indie, which I know that at least two of the filmmakers that are in the chat room have been on in terms of platform. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Tug is basically Open Indie, but yet they have partnerships with actual theater chains. I signed up to Tug as an event promoter, as someone who will put on events for filmmakers and screen movies. So just getting that out there now. I'm not 100% behind the platform because I haven't seen it perform yet. I'm not a fan of the demand model per se because demand does not necessarily always translate into sales. It has been proven in certain cases, but not everywhere. But I want your opinions on this kind of new platform. If you please could put it in the chat room here and whatnot. So, yes. Clumsy Monster, Nathan, our guest that was just on. Open Indie will save us all. Yeah, hey, first you have to get mad. And, look, I say that, we're all joking around. I admire the passion that went into that project. One thing I don't admire is the lack of forethought and the management that went into it. I just felt it was always managed as a side project and never as a business, which sucks for people who donated $12,000 on a Kickstarter campaign to get that site built. And for those of you, I don't know, it pisses me off.
That money could have been spent on something better, like Stuck Like Chuck 2.
I knew you were gonna fucking say that. I knew it. But
we're mad as hell, and we're not going to do anything about it.
Exactly. At first glance, you have a meeting with them next week. Well, include me in that meeting, Bill, while you're there. You can be my proxy because, like I said, we are signed up as an event promoter for them, and I'd be interested to hear what they have to do. So feel free to be the Film Snobbery proxy while you're there. And P.S., you still owe me some information about other things. So let me know if there's any news on that because I'm 2 weeks in now and I don't know what the fuck's going on. So, anyways, so let me see here. Is that going to email the festival? Let's see here. I am looking for anyone at all have anyone else have any information about Tug, about what's going on with it, and anyone? I'm looking literally to the audience here. I know you guys are kind of talking amongst yourselves right now, but it would be very nice to have an opinion. I'm also going to go look at Twitter real quick to see if there's anything
While we're waiting for someone else's opinion, do you want to talk about what we talked about before the show? About Tug? Basically, they need to team up with someone, or they need to, get the next paranormal activity in order for them to demand it, basically.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, too. I mean, there is something like this that already exists, and we already saw that with Open Indie. It was an argument I had about Open Indie a while ago. What makes this different aside? Do you think that that partnering with actual theater chains is going to make a difference in this case, Jerry?
Possibly. I don't know. It depends on what type of films they're going to, use. I mean, if they're going with AMC theaters and stuff, odds are it's not going to be indie films that AMC is going to want to promote at their theaters because they don't really show indie films. So, you said it was AMC that they
I said that, but I could have been wrong. It was like AMC or National Amusements, or it was what I was saying was it was an actual chain that you've heard of.
Yeah, it was like a nationwide chain, but still, most nationwide chains are don't have indie films.
And then Nathan says I should go to the Phoenix Film Festival. I'm going to have enough trouble getting to Los Angeles. You want me to go to Arizona? I used to live in Arizona, so I'm very familiar with Phoenix, but I don't want to go there. Zach says, Open Indie actually worked for me, but only once. I'd be interested in hearing that experience, by the way. Providing a platform for individuals to rally their homies to fill screening of a film they want to see. Yeah, that's...
But that's pretty much what Demanded is, and that's what Open Indie tried to be.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they don't sell tickets, and that's what we were saying was the big problem is they're not pre-selling.
Exactly.
tickets.
Well, let me read you guys the email that I got from them today. Maybe this will enlighten a little bit. Where is it? Here it is. Here it is. It's from one of their marketing people. It says, hey Nick, thank you so much for applying to create Tug events, which really just sounds dirty. My name is person, insert person name here, and I help promoters plan their first screenings. During our pilot stage, we'll be working closely with you to create your events. It would be great to speak with you further about how Tug works and what is involved in creating a screening. Believe me, I know how to Tug. It's not something that's
I was going to say, this sounds like the Open Indie for adult films.
Exactly.
Do you want to, instead of Demanded, it's do you want to Tug it?
But here's where it gets into the actual process. Below, I've outlined the process step by step. 1, confirm that we have an in-network theater in your town. 2, choose a film from the Tug library. I'll send this over to you based on the types of films you'd like to show. 3, decide the details for the screening, time, date, special features, etc. 4, create. Then it says Tug creates an official event page for your screening. 5, you spread the word to your friends and community. 6, get enough RSVPs and your event is confirmed. And then 7, join your friends at the theater and enjoy the film. So please let me know when you're available. We can arrange a time to talk more and get you started on your first Tug event. All the best, person. So it sounds like basically what they do is they create, very similar to what Eventbrite does, like where you create an event and there's an event page. That's where people buy tickets. I think Brown Paper Tickets probably does the same thing, all that kind of stuff. And so basically it seems like they're providing the venue and they're providing a promotional outlet. But it still doesn't solve the problem of, even if, all right, so I have over 13,000 followers on Twitter. I get 500 of those people to sign up an RSVP to an event. At which point,
wait,
how many
You're
of them?
not going to get that many people just because, 500 people in one location that can attend, that's...
I'm speaking purely in hypotheticals here. There was no reason for you to interject right there. Anyway, oh God, you suck. So if you get, say, 500 people to go ahead and RSVP, which I know is like an impossibility, however you want to frame it, but if they do that, to me, that demand does not necessarily still translate into ticket sales, and that is the part that I think all of these platforms demand it included. Eventbrite is the only one that I feel that they have it relies a lot on obviously you still have to book everything yourself, but at least when they're selling stuff, they're selling the ticket, to the event. And they have obviously the check-in ability and all that kind of stuff on the event side. I know that Bill uses it for the First Glance Film Festival when we were in Philly. He basically had people that were buying their tickets on using Eventbrite. I think it was Eventbrite. And then people would come in, and you could either scan the ticket or you could check them in via their interface on their website. So it's just a thing. So and First Glance, they book the theater if you can sell enough tickets to the event. But the thing is also, what if 2 shows want to book the same night? Or what if, I don't know, it's like...
I don't think they book a certain night. I think it's like, if you get enough demand of people that are like, I'll go see it if you can get it here.
Right.
And then you have certain number of people that are like, yeah, I'm going to go and do it. Then they book the theater on a certain night, and they're like, okay, this is the night. And they mass email everyone that said that they were going to go see it.
But that to me lessens your chances even more, because then you're like, well, yeah, I wanted to see it, but I can't make it on that night. You know what I mean? Or it's like, if you have a working theater that's like a what do you call it, like a multi-screen theater, something like that, multiplex, where is this movie playing? What theater is it? Are they going to give me one of the good theaters? Am I going to get the shitty theater? What if I booked 200 people and the theater only holds 100? Because they gave me the smallest theater in the building.
I think that they're not going to book you a smaller theater than what you have, but how do they are they buying the tickets? How does that work? How do they get the tickets? How do they purchase the tickets?
That's the part I'm trying to figure out. It's at what point does the money aspect go in? I wanted to...
What would be ideal, I think, is that when someone demands it or whatever, they pay the price of the ticket, and then if the event doesn't happen, it's kind of like a Kickstarter type thing where it's if the event doesn't happen, the money never gets taken from your account. But if the event does happen, you pre-booked it, and you set a date. You actually do set a date and a time for it. And then it's if you don't have enough people that pre-buy their tickets by this time, the event doesn't happen, the money goes back.
I don't necessarily hate that idea. I mean, at some point there has to be a pre-sale going on here, not just a promise, because that... Promises can be broken, but money talks and bullshit walks. You know what I mean? It's you need to have, even if it's you can buy the ticket, you can only pay even putting a down payment on a ticket, so to speak, or if you're doing the pre-sale like you said, doing a Kickstarter model where if the event doesn't happen because enough demands don't go in, you don't get charged, or you get charged back, however you want to view it, or you know what, the event doesn't happen, and or the event does happen, you don't show up, you still got charged. So I mean, it's still like, you know, there's a seat there. You know what I mean? Like that seat is quote unquote still been sold. I think that's the only way that I think theaters are going to more theaters. I mean, obviously Tug has relationships, but I think that's how you're going to get more theaters to buy into something like this, as well as you're going to get more filmmakers to buy into it. Because the other part I haven't seen on this is where's the revenue share? I want to know where's the revenue share for booking this movie, not only as an event promoter, but also as a filmmaker. Where's your money that you're getting from using this service to get your movie into a theater? Because just getting it into a theater and getting 100 people to see it does nothing for you. I mean, I hate to say it, folks. Four-walling sucks. Wall to wall. Getting 100 people to watch your movie in a fucking theater is not that big a fucking deal. Okay, it's getting those 100 people to pay you specifically to see that movie. That's where, you know, it's a question of money. You know, I hate to say it. And, you know, I want to know what's in it for you. And yes, also what's in it for me. I want to make money doing events like this too. I don't want to, you know, putting in time and effort in my name, and not only my name, but FilmSnobbery's name onto something that we can't earn a return off of. So, you know, we do that enough. So, anyway. It looks like a lot of people are taking off, so I think that might be a good time to, let's see. Anyway, well, I guess I'm just reading the first glance here. Just said, looks like the platform Tug holds the money from ticket sales, and if you hit the threshold, they book a screening at the venue in a night they decide on. Seems like a four-wall with a middleman. I might be wrong, but that's what I see.
If that's the case, though, like, you're going to pay, like, you don't know when the screening's going to be or anything. You're just going to pay, like, whatever, $10 for a ticket and hope that you'll be able to attend it?
Yeah.
That seems weird.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the whole thing, the lady that, I know I'm kind of giving away more information, but the lady that contacted me from Tug about making and promoting events, I definitely would like to have a conversation with her and kind of get more details for you guys out there, because my goal is I want to know what's in it for you. I'm happy to put on screening events all day, every fucking day, but my whole goal is I want to make sure that you guys are getting something out of it, and yeah, I'll be selfish. I want to get something out of it too. So we'll see what happens with that. So more news as it develops, I guess they say. And that is going to be the end for tonight, FilmSnobbery Live. I want to thank our guest that came on. I want to thank Nathan Cole. You can follow him at twitter.com/waterholemovie. You can also go to his website, www.thewaterholemovie.com. And I want to thank everyone who came to the show tonight. Mojave Musing, Clumsy Monster, which is Nathan, Zach Forsman, Gary King, Repo Man, pretty much anyone else. I want to thank our winner who won the contest tonight for a free signed copy of The Waterhole. I want to thank, where is he, Matt Jones. And I want to remind everyone you can follow us over at Twitter, twitter.com/FilmSnobbery, facebook.com/FilmSnobbery, youtube.com/FilmSnobbery, FilmSnobbery.com. And check us again next week and every Thursday night at FilmSnobberyLive.com, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for now anyway. And we'll have more great guests for you guys for the next few shows, and then we're going to go dark for a little bit while we make our trek over to Los Angeles and start preparing a brand new show for you guys. Also keep an eye out, please, March 1st is when we're going to be launching our Indiegogo campaign for our little trek out to the West, and we would appreciate anything that you guys can do to help out. So thank you very much, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good one.